What is good people? You are now listening to another episode of At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and to say that this is an extremely special guest would be a gross understatement. Man, let me tell you, you talk about a purveyor of country rap tunes. When you think Chattanooga, Tennessee, I mean, you got such luminaries as Usher, you got Isaiah Rashad, and you have this gentleman that's my guest on At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, DJ Wally Sparks. Wally,
What up?
what's
What up?
good, man? Good pleasure to have you on.
I'm happy to be here, man. Samuel Jackson, he's from Chattanooga too.
Really?
And for all my Gen Xers who know who Mr. Belding is, Dennis Haskins, the actor that played Mr. Belding, is also a Chattanooga native.
Really?
Yeah, I used to see him around town all the time. I think he still lives.
Wow.
I think he lived in Chattanooga until I think he might still live in Chattanooga if he's still with us. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but I used to see him around town all the time.
Which is crazy because he used to be at Charlotte Knights games all the time, just like making appearances there, like signing autographs and stuff. It seemed like he'd be there like once a year at least.
Yeah,
But
hey, it
man,
wasn't too far away.
yeah. But Chattanooga, man, what was that like for a young Wally Sparks?
Chattanooga's a fantastic place to grow up. I love my hometown. Uh, but one of the reasons it is such a great place is part of the reasons why I ended up having to move away because it's a place that's extremely comfortable to live in.
Mm.
It's kind of in the middle of everything, so you kind of got access if you want. If you want some city life, you got Nashville 2 hours one way, Atlanta hour and a half the other way. If you in the college sports, you got Knoxville that's right up the road. That's 2 hours away. Birmingham's 2 hours away. If you want to gamble, North Carolina, over there in Murphy, it's not that far away from Chattanooga. Less than a 3 hour drive away. So it's access to everything where you don't have to really live in it. You know what I mean? You can come
Yeah.
back home and live the quiet life that you can become accustomed to in Chattanooga. Um, and it's bother. We have things that most southern cities might not have. Like we got water because the Tennessee River literally runs right through the city.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and you got Chickamauga Lake. Then you got Nickajack Lake if you like to fish. You have access to lots of things, and there's I don't even want to call it burgeoning. There's Chattanooga's always had like a legitimate art scene, small one, but a legitimate one. You got the Hunter Museum, and then you got all the tourist attractions. Like at one point, the Tennessee Aquarium, which is in downtown Chattanooga, was the largest aquarium in the world at one point when I was growing up.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
before the Georgia Aquarium got built, the one that's here in Atlanta right now.
Okay.
But when the Tennessee Aquarium got built, it was the largest aquarium uh in the world at that point. I don't think that's the case anymore, but still, there's all sorts of things to do in Chattanooga. Then you got the tourist staples that have been there since before I was born, Rock City and Ruby Falls, Lookout Mountain, all that stuff. So Chattanooga was great, and I enjoyed growing up there. My entire family, sans myself and maybe one or two of my cousins, are still in Chattanooga.
Okay.
Like especially on the maternal side, my mother, God bless the dead, but that side of my family is huge, and my father's side of the family is small. It's literally the only people left on my daddy's side is literally me and my dad. But
Wow.
but on my mama's side, it's like 60 plus of us.
What?
It's
Golly.
a trip. It's a real trip. My mother's had three brothers and one sisters, and all of them had multiple children, and all of the children had children, and then my mama just had me. I don't have any siblings.
Okay.
Uh and my dad, I'm his only child also. And his older sister, my aunt who passed away in 2018, she never had children.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
so it was I was literally out on one side of my family, I'm literally the seriously only child. And then on the other side, I'm the only child, but I got 10 or 12 cousins. You know what I mean?
That's
So
wild.
it's a trip. It's a real trip.
So what was that dynamic like with both sides of the family, like as far as getting together?
So my mother and my father divorced when I was 2 years old. So I grew up
Okay.
not well, not knowing, but believing that that was normal because my father was in my life my entire life. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like my mom and dad, they before co-parenting was a thing to say, they were co-parenting back in the early 80s raising me, you know, late 70s, early 80s. Um and just like any other big family like that, the my grandmother's house was like the focal point. You know,
Yeah.
that's where we that's where we gathered. My mother's mother. You know, uh whenever there was a holiday or there was something, anything that required uh a family gathering, it always happened at my grandmother's house. And then it was sort of the same on my dad's side too, because my father, my aunt, his older sister, and their parents, my grandparents, they all lived together in the same house too.
Okay.
So and holidays with me, well, the way it would go is I go see one set of I go see one set of family first,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go to the others. Then I go see the other side, and they weren't that far away from each other. It was like a 5 minute drive between the two houses.
Okay.
So, just go through. If you ever heard Isaiah Rashad mention the Wilcox Tunnel on that
Mm-hmm.
Brad Jordan song from Sylvia Demo,
Yep.
literally, well, it was one. My grandma was on one side of the Wilcox Tunnel, and my other grandma was on the other side. So I just go
Wow.
through the
How
tunnel, and
about
I'd be
that?
right there. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Man,
So
super convenient.
yeah, it was cool. Chattanooga. I mean, Chattanooga is a relatively size city. It's not a big city, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not necessarily a small. You can get lost in Chattanooga if you don't know what you're doing. Uh, but if I just been around it so long, so I knew what was up. So and I don't want to say that the town was segregated, but the spaces where I live is where most of the black people in the town would congregate or were congregated.
Got you. So, how did you get into DJing?
I just love music, bro. That's the quick and simple answer. The long-winded answer is that I decided at a young age that I wanted to be around music as much as possible, and I couldn't really figure out how or what to do to make that a reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I always liked to dance. So I would go to parties where there was any night where I danced the whole night long, and then I would just be fascinated by the person playing the music because they were kind of in control of the music, and that was just you know completely fascinating to me. And eventually, it got to a point where I realized that the a way for me to you know fuel my passion for music was to control it. That way I get to choose it, and I get the whatever the sensation that it gives me, I get to get that also. So it was like a
Mm-hmm.
twofer, and that's kind of how it began for me. And then as it began, it started to grow and grow and grow and grow. But basically, man, the like I said, the short and simple answer is I just love music, and it led me. I say my love for music led me to DJing. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't into DJing. I got into DJing because I love music so much, and once I found DJing, I then fell in love with the art, and I was like, yeah, this is for me. This is what I'm supposed to do. You
Tight.
know.
So, do you remember your first DJ gig?
Ooh. Um. Oh, well, I remember one. I tell the story often. That was it, I think I was kind of before I wasn't a professional yet, but it was a DJ gig that I didn't even really know as a DJ gig. I was uh I was a part of this program that the YMCA had called the YMCA Young Black Achievers, and it was at the YMCA that's downtown Chattanooga, and they had a like dance or something, some ice cream social or whatever they called it back then.
Okay.
And all the kids were there. It was on like a Saturday afternoon or whatever. I was probably about my son's age, like 12 or 13, maybe. Uh, and I went there and they were just playing this CD just over and over. It was something that just like a compilation of something that had maybe one or two good songs on it, and then just the rest of filler.
Yeah.
Uh, and they just kept playing it over and over and over because they just throwing kids in the room, put music on, letting them dance, and the parents were doing whatever. I didn't live that far. Like I said, Chattanooga, this where I lived wasn't far. I can get to pretty much anywhere in like, 10 or 15 minutes. And I asked my mom to take me back to the house so I could go get my boombox and my cassettes. Came back with them, and I just started playing music that I liked. You know what I mean? And then I
Yeah.
started playing whatever was on the radio, and the whole complete vibe of that event changed. The kids started dancing more. They got way more engaged in the activities, and I didn't know it at the time, but that was probably my first DJ gig, like actual, my first actual DJ gig didn't come till later because I didn't really jump off the porch with DJing as a professional until I got into college.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of where it started, because that's like a core memory for me because I remember that happening,
Mm-hmm.
and as I've gotten older and talked about uh where my journey began as a DJ, that always jumps out in my mind. So I always consider that kind of my first DJ gig.
Okay. Do you remember what tapes you brought with you to the YMCA?
Oh man, probably like some MC Hammer, Vanilla Ice. I
Okay.
know I was real big into Kwame. I'm big into Kwame now.
Yeah.
Oh, oh, probably some stuff from his first album. Whatever was popping in say 19, whatever was popping like from like 88 to like 90, because that's probably around the time this was.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever was the hot radio single at the time I was playing it, like Candyman, Knocking Boots, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It would be that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Hoochie Coochie by MC Brains, that kind of stuff. That's
Oh
the kind
my
of stuff.
God.
You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff I probably had. You know, and was playing Boys to Men, whatever. I just know I had whatever the tapes were, I had them back then.
Okay. Speaking of Kwame, there was a tweet that you had that really caught my eye because a couple of people that you mentioned in that tweet were also some inspirations of for me as well. So your tweet, you talked about how Large Professor, the aforementioned Kwame, Grand Puba, and Phife Dawg from A Tribe Called Quest were four major factors in your upbringing. So
Yeah.
talk about that because I'm curious to hear about that.
So as a young man, infatuated with hip hop and wanted to be involved in hip hop in any sort of way I could be, those particular men stood out to me, right? And for different reasons. Kwame, since we just mentioned him, I'll speak about him first. Kwame is the first uh person that I saw doing hip hop stuff and being on television and making music or whatever that I directly related with, because he embraced being like a nerdy smart kid, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the thing that people don't realize about Kwame's first album. He was a kid. He was not a grown up.
Yeah.
He was a kid when he made that record, and he did it all by himself. You know what I mean? I'm sure he had help, but he was the the driving force. And Kwame doing that, calling himself the boy genius. And, if you listen to that album, he's doing all sorts of weird, dorky shit. And I was just way into it. Like,
Yeah.
I was a kid watching Danger Mouse on Nickelodeon, trying to fake a British accent, just doing all, and he was doing those types of things, but on record. And I
Yep.
resonated with that. And then beyond that, the music was jamming. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's ultimately what it's all about. Does it jam or does it not? If it do a jam or it don't, or or doesn't, or does it not jam? Pardon. Um, so that's one of the things that resonated with me uh with Kwame. And with Phife, uh I had like older friends that were into hip hop. Um, one guy in particular that I'm thinking of, whose name is also Walter. His name's Walter too, but we called him Walt.
Okay.
Walt Greer is definitely one of my mentors. He was a huge, huge, huge Tribe Called Quest fan. Like he was, he was a hip hop guy, and he makes music too. Um, but anyway, he was a huge Tribe fan, and he was into hip hop, and and I could tell he and I were kind of kindred spirits because we were into hip hop, and we were in the same type of hip hop. Oh, and he put me on the Tribe. I started listening to the Tribe and Phife. I'm 5'4", right? I'm a short guy.
Hmm.
I've been a small guy my whole life. And one of the things that I loved about Phife is he, like Kwame, embraced that part of himself and was like, yeah, so he's like, I'm short, man, but I'm bagging every woman I want, I'm gonna get. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? And I was like, okay, and Phife kind of gave me confidence to say to myself, yeah, it's okay that you're the small guy. That's what makes you unique. Use that to your advantage. So listening to Phife gave me a lot of confidence as a young man, and as like a middle schooler transitioning into high school, and going in and out of puberty, learning myself as a young man or whatever, trying to figure out where I fit in, listening to Tribe and listening to Phife be as confident as he was on the microphone, uh gave me the same sort of confidence. With Lost Professor, he just he just there's no one that I can think of that like embodies the purest spirit of hip hop more than him, to me.
That's a
You
good
know what I'm
point.
saying?
Yeah,
Like he can't shake the hip hop off of him, right?
you're
I saw a
right.
picture recently because it's what the 30th year anniversary of Illmatic, and
Dramatic. Yeah.
he had a major hand in making that record. He discovered Nas. Well, one of the people that discovered Nas. Nas first jumped off the porch on one of his records,
Live
Live
at
at
the
the Barbecue.
barbecue.
You know what I'm saying? So, um, but there's a photo of a group of people that were all involved with that album. Lost Professor's in it. Lost Professor. He looks like a distinguished gentleman, right? Got the glasses
Yep.
on, got a tie on, like a little sweater vest or whatever, like a newsboy hat or whatever, just looking like a distinguished old gentleman. But he taking a picture like this.
Yep. That's
And
him
I'm
all
like, bro,
day.
you can't beat the hip hop off him.
You can't. That's
You
a
know what I'm
that's a
saying?
great point.
And I'm like, and I've always noticed that like that dude is the one thing I always appreciated about him is he did it. You could tell he did it from pure love. This is this is this is what's in me, and I'm not going to deny it ever. I'm still gonna go be my live my life and do whatever. But Lost Professor, Extra P, whoever, you know what I'm saying? That's always going to come through, you know.
Yes.
And and him and Grand Puba to a degree, I always thought were real stylish too. That's the one reason. That's the Grand Puba is like a style icon to me.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Bro, I got a Tommy Hill figure. Hold on, let me go get it. I'm gonna go get it real quick. Oh, give me
Yeah.
1 second.
Yeah, we need to see this. Man, and Fife was he was one of my biggest influences too. Him and Kwame especially. Kwame, he taught me how to really be myself. Especially that song, One of the Big Boys. That's the song that really did it for me. And as Wally Sparks comes back with the Hill figure in tow.
All right. So I bought this Tommy Hilfiger windbreaker. All right. in 1994, I think,
Mm-hmm.
when I was a 10th grader.
Come on, man.
I bought this specifically because I saw Lost Professor wear a Tommy Hilfiger, and I
Man.
thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I rocked Tommy Hilfiger all through high school because of Lost Professor. I mean, not Lost Professor, because of Grand Puba. And I was a brand Nubian fan. Puba was the short guy, and out of the three, out of Sadat and Lord Jamar
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, and he always looked the coolest to me. And he was a good rapper, and he was short. It was like all the things that I liked and were like me, right?
Yep.
So my sense of personal style, I took a lot of cues from both Grand Puba and Lost Professor. And beyond that, the four collectively did something that I liked. They made music that I liked. To go back to my what's foundational for me is it's always been about the music. If any of them made like terrible records, I probably wouldn't feel the way that I feel about them. You know what I mean?
True.
But they all made classics, all four of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, that's why those guys are special to me. And looking back at it, I realized that they were foundational, to use that term again, in my own personal development as a young man, style wise, confidence wise, creatively, all those things I got from taking cues from them.
And for me, specifically Phife and Kwame. Well, Phife, I dug his style, and I love the fact that he was such a sports head, and the
Yes.
fact that he would
Yep.
he would he would drop athletes' name. Like I don't know any other rapper that would mention Scott Skiles in a rap.
Right. He also mentioned the Braves on the record, which was
Yes.
my turned me all the way up. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
and I
saying?
mean, even in the Check the Rhyme video, Q-Tip had on a Braves hat.
Yep. That's
And
right.
I went to Northwoods Mall and got me a Braves hat because Q-Tip wore it. And Q-Tip I was like, man, if it's good for Q-Tip, it's good for me too.
Good for me, man.
And as far as Kwame was the one that really made me say to myself, it's okay to go to forge your own path and do things your own way. Like when you were walking away, I was talking about, in particular, his song "One of the Big Boys,"
Mm-hmm.
because especially that third verse. He said they all had rides. We only had 2 feet. We used to pick the girls up, but on the train, they used to pick the girls up, but on the train we'd meet. Why can't I
Mm-hmm.
be a big boy? I used to ask myself, and self said, why do you want to be someone else? Why do you
Yep.
want to wear what someone else wears? Or get a
Yep.
cut like someone else's hair? Or be seen as someone else's glare? You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Yeah. Then he said, I'll do my own thing, speak my own slang, be on my own swang. You know what I'm
Hell
saying?
yeah. I know
Because
exactly.
baby, I'm a star. You know
Yep.
who the hell I are?
Who the hell I
I
are.
was like, that's good enough for me,
That's
man.
good enough.
So, man, let's get into this baseball.
Oh,
So,
right on.
what were your earliest baseball memories?
Man, I played Little League at Hillcrest Elementary School. Well, that's where I went to elementary school also. But I played in the Hillcrest Elementary Dixie Dean League, right? I did I started my first team I played for was the Pirates, right? I think that was like 7 and 8. I got a photo of that. I'll text it to you because it's in my phone.
Okay.
I got a photo of that. And then every little league team I played for after I played for the Pirates of 6, 7. I played little league probably till I was about 13. From probably 6 to about 13. Every other team after the Pirates was the Braves.
Wow. It's meant to be.
It was meant to be. I had a coach, a great dude. I wonder what he's doing now. I'm actually curious. I might look him up. But his name was Glenn Swafford. Amazing dude, man. He was he's a like really nice guy. And he had, my whole team was I think we had all black kids, maybe one young white boy that was on our team or
Wow.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the kind of coach that allowed us to have fun and kind of tricked us into playing winning baseball. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
he made everything fun, right? That's the one thing I remember about him. Uh, but yeah, those are kind of my uh core and first baseball memories as a player. Now, as a fan, uh, it was basically WGN watching the Cubs and TBS watching the Braves. That's all I
Yeah.
could get where I was at. And every Sunday, my dad's a preacher now, but he wasn't then. He was a church guy back then. So I would spend my Sundays with my daddy, right? And we be at his house with his, with my grandmama or whatever, mama, and mama and papa. uh, and she was a diehard Cubs fan because that's what she looked at. That's what she watched on Sundays. Because this is back in the day when the Cubs didn't have Cubs only played day games
Yep.
at home, right? They didn't have lights in the stadium, so they played almost every Sunday on WGN, and I watch them. And she loved the Cubs because she liked Harry Carey, right? So um I was watching I grew up watching them, Leon Durham. I remember when Andre Dawson got picked up and won the MVP for a team that was in last place. Ryan Sandberg, Sean Dunston, who was one of my favorite players, who actually I was the first celebrity I ever met ever was Sean
Really?
Dunston. Yep, he came. The church that my dad went to, which means the church I went to by default, uh, the pastor was Sean Dunstan's cousin, or at least he said he was his cousin. He might have just
Okay.
paid him to come there, but who knows? But whatever. Sean Dunston showed up at the church, and I got to meet him. It was like, bro, it was so crazy.
Wow.
But I remember that Gary Matthews after he left the Braves and was playing for the Cubs. You got Keith Moreland at third base. I remember all that stuff. You know what I mean? So and then she was a big Cubs fan, right?
Hmm.
But me, I like the Braves. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who I played for. Like every little, like I said, every little league team I played for. Actually, I just found a picture that I wanted to show you. Let me see. That's me right there with the circle.
Hi.
That was in 19. This is 1980, 89 or 88, I believe.
Okay. What position did you play?
That's coach. That's Glenn in the middle. The and the coaches. That's
Glenn Swafford.
Glenn Swafford. Yep. I back then because I was kind of still afraid of the ball. They stuck me in the outfield. So
Me too.
I
I was
played
like that too.
I played I played all three outfield positions. And then eventually I got to a point where I wasn't scared of the ball, and I started to develop as a pretty decent defender, and they stuck me at second because I'm a small guy. I'm probably one of the smallest dudes on the team. And I couldn't really play on the left side of the infield unless they absolutely needed me to, right? So they stuck me at second, and that's kind of where I played most. If I wasn't in right field, I played second base and right field pretty much more than any other position. So
Okay. Yeah, that was I was left field and I was a lousy defender starting and I remained a lousy defender throughout the duration of my little league quote unquote career. But yeah, man, I miss playing little league, just the camaraderie and just having fun with my friends and getting the snacks
yeah,
post game.
Astro Pops, Rain Pops. Did y'all do the thing at the with the concession stand with the soft drinks and say uh trigger warning, but they called it a suicide where they put every flavor like a Coke, Sprite, Mountain Dew, cherry, whatever, they put every flavor in one cup and you
Now
drink it.
we didn't have that. They just had the cans they had Pepsi and Mountain Dew. That's all we had.
Yeah, we had like at the concession stand because my mother worked at the concession stand, so she
Okay.
could so I could stay at the ball fields all day. That's the reason she volunteered to do that because she knew I like baseball so much. And she, I just want to stay on the field all day. As soon as I would get done playing, I just go watch all the other games.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, man, that's what I mean. I would stay there all day long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I loved it so much. But yeah, at the concession stand, they have like 6 different fountains, of fountain drinks, and you go and ask for a suicide, and they literally just put it every single flavor in one cup, and they serve it to you.
And which is wild because I wasn't familiar with that then, but honestly, every time I go to Quick Trip, I go straight to the slushy machine and I do that same exact method,
How about that?
making up for lost time.
Yeah, how about that?
So Atlanta Braves, what were some of your favorite who were some of your favorite players?
Oh man, early on, Rafael Ramirez when I was real young, and I always I typically gravitate to middle infielders. So Rafael Ramirez, Glenn Hubbard, then you got the Lemsky Blauser era, then you got the Escobar and Rafael Fakal era, the Anderson Simmons era. I liked all those players, but some of my real favorites, when I was coming up, I was always on the Braves with Sorry. Not like I wasn't really paying attention when Joe Torre was around and had them, in playoff contention in the early '80s. But in the middle to late '80s when they was bad,
Mm-hmm.
uh of course Dale Murphy, because who don't love Dale Murphy? Dale Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying?
100%. He
That's
he was my first favorite player ever.
it's a travesty that he's not in the Hall of Fame like crazy. Him and Andrew Jones both, but
Yeah.
well,
Oh, don't get me started.
that's a discussion for
Don't
another
get me
time.
started.
But obviously Dale Murphy, pardon me. I said Rafael Ramirez, but Gerald Perry, Claudell Washington, Milt Thompson, Jerry Royster, um, Zane Smith, pitching. I used to love watching Gene Garber pitch because he had that funky delivery. Um, Chris Chambers when he was at the end of his career, playing out in Atlanta. Uh, Kent Obergfell the third. Man, who else? But and then you got the '90s teams when things kind of switched over. Doyle Alexander left and John Smoltz came in. Who they made that trade? Glavine and Maddox. Steve Avery, Ken Merker, Paul Asamaka. Uh, man, Damon Berryhill, who came from the Cubs like Maddox
Damon
did.
Berryhill. He was a catcher, wasn't he?
Yes, yep, switcher and catcher, wore number 9. Him and Maddox both got traded from the Cubs to Atlanta. Speaking of catchers, Bruce Benedict, Bob Horner. Bob Horner looked like Dusty Rose.
Yeah, he had that blonde Jerry curl.
Exactly that curly blonde Jerry curl. Uh, Shoot, man. Rick Camp. Remember he hit that home run in that like 18 inning game to end it. Like it was a. Do you remember that game at all?
Mm-mm.
It was I forgot who they were playing, but the Braves were playing some game that ended at like almost like 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's
They went
bro.
to like 18 innings, and Rick Camp was literally the only eligible hitter left for them to. He was the only one left to use, and he ended up hitting it. This is a pitcher now. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah, he's a pitcher. Rick Camp was a pitcher. He
Wow.
wasn't a position player at all. So, and this is a pitcher in the mid '80s when pitchers show enough couldn't hit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that man got up there, hit a home run to end the game. It was the craziest shit ever. You
Man.
know what I'm saying? That man ready to go home. It's funny. But yeah, all those players, man, those are the people that I remember a lot growing up. Braves players for that I remember a lot growing up, and I just I love watching them, man.
Yeah.
Love them all. You know what I mean? And I always obviously I would always gravitate towards the black players because that's who that's
Mm-hmm.
who look like me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So Otis Nixon's and Ron Gantz of the world, Terry Pendleton's, et cetera,
TP.
et cetera. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, Terry Pendleton was my dude.
won an MVP as a Brave.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He won the MVP one year. I
Man,
think it was the year that the first year they went to the World Series in '91. I think is when he won it.
okay. Man, I didn't remember that. And of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Dion.
Yeah. Deion Sanders. Yep. Good
Man,
stuff.
so who were some of your favorite non-Braves players? This can past and present.
Oh, my favorite baseball player ever is Ricky Henderson.
My dog. Let's
You
talk
know what I'm
about
saying?
it. He's
Yeah,
my favorite too.
boy, I got Howard Bryant's book about Ricky Henderson on my bookshelf that I hadn't cracked open yet, but I will eventually. Yeah, Ricky Henderson was great because I like stealing bases. You know what I'm saying? Um, I made an All Star team. The maybe the first or second, maybe the one or two only All Star teams I ever made. I made that team because I stole a bunch of bases, and I stole a bunch of bases because I like Ricky Henderson. You know what
Yep.
I'm
I did the
saying?
same thing. I did the same thing in Little League.
I can't run no more. I don't put too many pounds on. I run right now. I'm gonna fall over, die. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it no more. Uh, but yeah, Ricky Henderson was a favorite. Ozzie Smith is a real big favorite of mine.
Yes.
Tony Gwynn is a favorite. Uh, I like Ryan Sandberg. He was one of my favorites. Second baseman that played. I really enjoy watching Mike Schmidt play. Um,
Yep.
anytime the Phillies was playing the Braves or the Cubs, Mike Schmidt was always fun to watch. I didn't watch too much American League stuff outside of paying attention to Ricky Henderson. Uh, so there weren't many American League players that I was really into, except for Harold Baines for whatever reason. I maybe because
Wow.
WGN, I see him from time to time,
Yeah.
but him, and who else was I a fan of? Andre Dawson, of course.
The Hawk.
Um, I was really, really, really big into Barry Larkin. Uh, Eric Davis also. Eric Davis was
ED
a big favorite of mine. Shout
44.
out, shout out to former Chattanooga Lookouts legend Ellie De La Cruz, who is now rocking
Hey,
Eric Davis's number for the Cincinnati Reds. You know what I
matter of
mean?
fact, now that you mentioned it, this I'm gonna do my
Uh
my
oh.
do my show and tell now because I copped the shirt. I could not. Shout out to friend of the show, Shakia Taylor. I'll be right back.
Young Shake, that's the homie. Shout out to the Lookouts, man. Let's win that Southern League, buddy. While he waiting, I'm gonna tell you, I got to show y'all my Lookouts tattoo. See, how about that? See that? It's nice.
Oh, you true to it. I love it. If it wasn't for Shakia Taylor, I would have never known about this shirt right here.
Oh, nice, nice.
It had the 3 feet high and rising theme, and I saw her she posted a link for it. Oh, I gotta get this.
Yeah,
But
he
yeah,
wore he
Ellie.
wore 22 when he played for the Lookouts, and now that he's in the big league, now I guess it's like that's where the 44 comes from. But you know, if there was anybody else that was going to wear the number 44 besides Eric Davis for the Reds, he's the right guy.
Yeah, he
You know
earned
what I'm
he's
saying?
earned that, boy. He is must watch.
Yeah, for sure. Like he's an electric player.
Man, just that inside the park home run he hit the last week. I was like, bro, as tall as he is, and he's just that man's got
Moving.
wheels, bro.
He moving.
He got wheels.
You like Usain Bolt on the base pass, man. You
Bro,
know,
he ran the second. It's like he hit the nitrous button. He was
man,
gone.
dog. As soon as he turned that corner, he gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So now we're going to get into the 5 question segment. So the first and last question I ask every guest I have on is the same question I ask every guest I have on here. And questions 2 through 4 are 100% random. So question number
Already.
one, what were the go-to items on Wally's school lunch tray?
Oh, school lunch tray. Um, cheese and crackers. Um, you remember that little square ass block cheddar that they used to give you with like
Yep.
a and Sometimes they give you that little packet that had like that cheese whiz dip or whatever with that
I used to
red
love
stick.
it with that red stick.
Spread it on there.
Man, I used to tear those up.
So that either a Swiss cake roll or oatmeal cream pie. Shout out to Little Debbie. Fun fact: Little Debbie's are made in Chattanooga. A lot of people don't know that, but that's where they've always been manufactured.
That and Little Debbie was our post game snack in Little League.
You know what I'm saying?
It was
So
always the Pepsi and the Star Crunch.
they've been making Little Debbie snack cakes in Chattanooga for before I was born. So they still making them there now.
Man,
But oh, and moon pies also Chattanooga delicacy. Those are also made in Chattanooga.
I'm learning some shit tonight, man.
What else did I have in my lunch, man? I would do sometimes I do a Twinkie. Back when Twinkies were actual Twinkies. I don't know what the fuck's going on with them now. And then, probably just plain old bologna sandwich, man.
Hey, keep it simple. Can't go wrong with that.
It worked for me. You know what I'm saying? It worked for me. And then, some kind of juice, apple juice or fruit, whatever, fruit punch or grape juice, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Question number 2. Who was your favorite high school teacher?
Mr. McDonald. He was my 11th grade English teacher. And he was real cool, and he was a snazzy dresser. And he and I one day showed up to school when I was going through my little Vanderpool era, listening to Too Much Boys and Men. I showed up. I used to wear ties and shit to school. You know what I'm saying? I was that guy. But one day he and I showed up with the same pair of we both had a pair on these green suede saddle Oxfords. Like the shoe is green. It was like bright green. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't anything you would think a teacher would wear, right? But they were saddle Oxfords and they were cool looking shoes. And I bought a pair when I wore them in school one day, and I walked in his class. He had them on too. It's like, you all right?
It's like the Spider-Man meme.
It was just like that. But he was also a good teacher. He was a young white man, and he had us in there reading Zora Neale Hurston and Toni Morrison and all kind of stuff. He was a good teacher. He was a very good teacher.
Dope.
Yep.
Question number 3. What's one defunct Chattanooga restaurant that you wish never left?
Ooh. Something that ain't there no more. That I ain't been back home in a long time, but I don't know if. Well, no, I think it's still open. Never mind. What's a Chattanooga restaurant? This is a very good question because you're making me think. Sunset Inn Barbecue. There we go.
Okay, Sunset Inn Barbecue.
Sunset Inn. Yep.
Question number 4. What's one thing that Atlanta needs less of?
Ooh. Hookah.
I had a feeling that was coming too.
Needs less hookah. Or you know what? It needs less people who don't understand what hookah actually is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the status symbol that people view it as. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a communal thing when you're doing it properly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not just something. It's not like a big trophy you can stick on your table in the section. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of way people treat it though.
Yeah, salient point. And last question. What was the last thing that really made you laugh?
Oh. This TikTok I saw. These two Indian gentlemen. I sent it to my homie too, because my homie that he and I have the same sort of sense of humor. It's real dry, and he and I both laugh at things that a lot of people would deem offensive. So he's like the only person I can share stuff like this with.
Yeah.
But this wasn't even offensive. It's literally just two guys talking, right? And it's two Indian gentlemen, I'm assuming they're Indian. They could be Pakistani, but they're East Asian. Pardon me. I don't want to assume where they're from, but I just know they're East Asian men. But they just talking, and one of the guys is trying to get the other to pronounce just regular words. he pronounce and he's pronounce the guy that he's asking to pronounce the words. He's saying them all phonetically, right? And then he and then the other guy's like, "That's not how you say it." And he's the guy who's saying it phonetically is just getting extremely offended that the words aren't what they look like, that they don't sound what they look like. He getting upset at the words, but he taking it out on his own. It's so I'm doing a bad job explaining it. That shit funny as fuck to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm you think about it now, making me laugh. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the last thing I can remember that made me actually laugh out loud. Like,
Okay. So time it's plug time. So anything you want to promote, like where can people find you or any upcoming any upcoming DJ dates? Let the people know.
I am currently on tour with the Art Beats and Lyrics Urban Art Showcase. We travel around the country and showcase art and from artists that are primarily based in Atlanta, but from all over. And mostly black artists, not all, but mostly black. And we travel around to different cities, and we pretty much put up a full scale art exhibition in random places, and we throw a party in it and have a concert in it. You know, our last event was this is the 20th year anniversary of Art Beats and Lyrics also. And there is a documentary on Hulu about the show that I have a quick cameo in at the end. That you can just look up Art Beats and Lyrics on Hulu and you'll be able to find it. But the last show we had was here in Atlanta, and we had Killer Mike perform. I did my thing on the turntables. I've been the tour DJ for this show since 2014.
Oh,
So
wow.
I've been at it for 10 years. It's pretty much the longest gig I ever had. Shout out to Jabari and Dub, the guys who put the show together. I'm doing that. We got dates coming up soon in September and in the summertime, late summer and midsummer. So check artbeatsandlyrics.com to see when we will be in your town. And other than that, you can find me on social media. Everything is at DJ Wally Sparks, DJ WALLYSPARKS. You can see where I'm going to be DJing. You can see when I will be live streaming on Twitch. I typically live stream on Twitch every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Play a whole bunch of Dirty Side classics like all day long. You know what I'm saying? That's a show that I created called Twinkle and Glisten. So check that out. We're actually doing the live version of Twinkle and Glisten in August of this year. So at the end of the summer, August 31st, Labor Day weekend, we're doing Twinkle and Glisten live here in Atlanta. Very, very excited about that. And anything else that you want to know about good old Wally Sparks, man, you just check my website, djwallysparks.com, www.djwallysparks.com.
Boom. And man, make sure y'all check out his Twitch. That Twinkle and Glitz. Bro, you have no idea how big my heart smiled when you threw on that bust down.
Oh, nasty bitch.
Man. Woo.
That song would not fly in 2023. I mean
Absolutely
2024.
not.
Because that song is
Absolutely
wrong
not.
shit, boy. Talk about some full-on debauchery. That song is terrible. But it's also terrible and great at the same time.
It's terrible, but it's jamming.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, thank you so much for being a guest. I
No, but thank
greatly
you for asking me, man. This was fun. I don't often get to talk about baseball, and
yeah,
that's something I love. So this was a treat for me.
when I saw you nerding out about it on Twitter. I was like, oh, okay, let me
Like I'm
reach out to him.
like yeah, he fuck with baseball for real. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Man, so thank y'all for listening. Make sure you like, download, or subscribe to At the Plate with Danny Foxworth. Make sure you follow my YouTube channel. You can find me at Danny Foxworth 843. You'll find all the video versions of all the episodes for this podcast as well as my other podcast since we last spoke with Danny Foxworth. And for DJ Wally Sparks and myself, it's been another episode of At the Plate. And until next time, y'all be good. 3 strikes.